Upgrades. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review brought to you from the Toronto Film Festival. This film here is a film that completely caught me by surprise, and I absolutely loved every aspect of this film. This one is called Emilia Perez, and here's a quick synopsis. A Mexican lawyer is offered an unusual job to help a notorious cartel boss retire and transition into living as a woman, fulfilling a lifelong held desire. And this is directed by Jacques Audiard. It stars Zoe Saldana, Selena Gomez, Karla, Sofía, Gascón, and it's hard to describe just how amazing this film is. Emilia Perez first is a musical, and it's a musical on the most radical sense of what a musical is, as we introduce from the beginning to Zoe Saldana's character and how she's introduced to this cartel boss as she's just a lawyer trying to make a living for herself. And then we get this cartel boss who says, I want to be a woman and live my truth. And we get to see Zoe looking for doctors to help fulfill this truth for this cartel boss. As we get to Zoe finding that out, we get to the aspects of exactly what it means for this transition to happen and the things that this cartel boss has to give up. Once those things are given up, then we meet later on in the film Karla, who looks beautiful. Like every aspect of the transition worked. And then we get the weirdest request of saying, I still want to have my family and I need them back in my life. And these are the different ebbs and flows of Emilia Perez that makes this film so special. One, you don't get a film like this about a cartel boss wanting to transition to live their truth. And then the ramifications behind that. And is it worth living your truth if you have to give up everything you love to do so? And how will you deal with having to do so? And will you fight to hold on to your secret if you can have your family back? It's so many different elements of what it means just to live one's truth and just how important one's family is to them. And it's all anchored around an amazing story as we get to see Emilia Perez, which is the name once the cartel boss transitions, and everything she goes through in life and how her perception of life changes once she transitions. Like all of that it's just just fantastical. That ain't even a real word, but I love it here. Just because, again, this is a different aspect of a musical that I wasn't expecting. Zoe does a great job with these musical numbers. It's not necessarily the big belting out type of musical numbers as much as it's the more hip, more Romeo and Juliet-esque, if you remember when that was a musical and made into a film. Like that type of element of it. Like it's made to be hipper in its transitions than your typical musical is. And it's made to punch you a tad bit harder because of this story. Because this story is so unique and it's something that will catch most people off guard if you just go into it like I did, which is I went into it blind, not knowing exactly what to expect from Emilia Perez. I just knew that Zoe was in it and I wanted to see it. And that the hype of around Selena Gomez was also in it. And I said, okay, this is something I need to see. And now you get this amazingly beautiful, complex story of, again, when this transition happens and then decisions made later on by Emilia of her wanting her family around and then wanting to change the world because of everything that they've been through in their life. Like, it's such a deep, meaningful film here. And I'm being very vague because I can't give away, and I will not give away a lot of this stuff because I think that's going to be the enjoyment is if you just go into this film blind. What you do need to know is that Jacques does an amazing job at filming this movie. It is paced beautifully. It is scored amazingly. The cinematography is great. It's so many aspects of Emilia Perez that are amazing. The musical numbers and just how detached it feels from the reality of the film at times makes it so enjoyable. It's like musical interludes to a story, but the story is still being told in a linear, non-musical fashion. And it's not necessarily, the musical is not necessarily to push the plot forward, it's to push the emotions of the characters forward. And we use it in that aspect. It just makes it hit a little harder for every musical number, that you understand these are this character's emotions coming out through music. And that's what's wanted to be displayed to the audience versus a lot of musicals who use those numbers just to push the story forward. Again, it's a separation of it that I think can make this more enjoyable to a lot of people who possibly don't like musicals, that they would sit through Emilia Perez. This is a foreign film also. So a foreign film is also a musical that deals with transitions, that deals with hot topic button issues of the world today, and just, it's still super engrossing, super violent at times also. Like, it does not shy away from all the elements of this still being a cartel boss in the end who decided to make this decision. And because of those elements, it just makes Emilia Perez feel like such a special film. Down to the performances. These are three of the best performances of this year. Selena Gomez is really, really good in this film. Zoe Saldana is phenomenal. And then Karla, Sofía Gascón she puts on the best performance of the year. Hands down, Karla's performance is the best performance of this year. It is great on so many different levels. And you get to see, as she plays Emilia, all of these different array of emotions that comes out. Wanting to transition to be happy. Having to give up your family to do so. And then realizing that's the last thing you wanted to give up. It's just so many different emotions, and she nails every single one of them in this film. And that's what helps make this film so beautiful, is that these performances are equally as beautiful as this film is well written. So it's definitely something like you're going to get engrossed by. It's humanly impossible not to. It's super engrossed by this film. But Emilia Perez, brought to you from Toronto Film Festival. Out of a possible 10, I'm giving this film a 9.5 out of 10. This film is really good. On every level, it's really good. It's hard to say because I know Wicked comes out later this year, to say this is possibly going to be the best musical of the year, but it feels like it right now. It feels like this is the best, for me, possibly the second best film I've seen during this film festival. And it's not second by a lot. It's barely second. Like, it is so enjoyable. But these are, especially Zoe Saldana and Karla's performances, are the two best performances I've seen this year, male or female. These are the two best performances of this year, and it's definitely something you have to check out when it drops. I want to say this film is going to go limited release in theaters and then onto Netflix. I would say go see it in theaters. That the experience of seeing this in a theater was amazing. It made the score better. It made the performances better. It made everything great. So check it out. Let us know what you think. This has been another JVS movie review brought to you from the Toronto Film Festival. Peace, people.